How you doing, Jason?
Hey, good, Jack. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. It looks like you're driving.
Yeah, you betcha. Heading, my daughter's got a tournament in Camrose.
Oh, nice. Good
So it's
luck.
about a 2.5 hour drive for us. So we'll kick off tonight at 5:15.
Not bad. You wanted to talk about
No,
something, and I wasn't sure, but I said, hey, let's talk about it on the channel and see how it goes.
yeah, I just wanted to talk about the changes to the NCAA allowing the CHL in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They made a new rule change this year. I just heard about it, but it wasn't sure. I don't know too much about it. Like, I just heard something.
Well, essentially the CHL was classified as a professional league, and were therefore deemed ineligible to play in the NCAA. And with lawsuits that happened on within some families and suing the NCAA because their kid played whatever it was, 3-4 games in the OHL, and they lost their eligibility because of it. And
Yeah.
now they're allowing all these pro hockey players to play in the NCAA.
So a kid can have a 8-year career playing 4 years of juniors, and then 4 years of college hockey.
That's correct. Yeah, they can go play in the WHL, OHL, or QMJ now, and they're still eligible to go to the NCAA.
Wow.
Versus when I played, you had to make a choice whether you were going to play CHL or you were going to stick around Tier 2 or Tier 1, meaning the USHL, and go that route. So they've kind of thrown a pretty good wrench into lots of these young kids' career that chose the path at a young age of Tier 2 junior and went that way. And now they're up competing against the guys in the THL, which to me is not right. Don't get me wrong. I've always said, that I disagreed with them being ineligible. But I mean, at some point in time, you are an adult. You should be able to make that decision. So just allowing 20 bombs from the Dub to go play in the NCAA, I don't think was a very good decision for hockey in North America.
Yeah, it's not fair for the kids who trying to make it that are in tier two for sure. I remember the
They
rule.
made
Yeah,
that choice at a young age.
yeah. I remember taking the WHL route. I got to play 5 exhibition games, and then I didn't know that there was a rule when I was growing up, and so I went to college. I got offered a half a scholarship, and I wasn't able to take it. The coach went and did some research, came back the next day. He said you were in camp more than 48 hours. I guess you could, back in the day, you couldn't be in camp more than 48 hours.
Yeah, 48 hours, 72 hours was always
Yeah.
the rule. Couldn't take anything from them, not skate sharpening, not anything. As long as you were paying your own way, you were kind of good to go, unless you stepped in the ice for execution or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's the way the rule always was.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I never felt that it was right that a 16-year-old kid or 15-year-old kid had to pick his path without really having much information on both sides, but that's the way it always was. And,
Yeah.
I accept the change, but to me, it should have been something more along the lines that you can play up until your 18-year-old year, and then at that point, you had to make a decision whether you were going to stick it out in the CHL or you were going to drop back to Tier 2 junior and try the NCAA route.
Yeah. Do you think the people that are making the decision, they're not hockey knowledge people? It's just some random people making this decision, right? This new rule change.
Yeah, I mean, I think all they look at, no different than the NHL, is what pats their pockets the most. And I think they probably looked at it and said, hey, if we do this, we're going to make more money, is all it comes down to, rather than looking at what's best for the development of the players and what's best for the growth in hockey North America.
Yeah. Sometimes it's money that talks, and if they have money behind it, it doesn't. They don't care. It's not about developing the kids anymore. It's about money. And if it's
You're
gonna make,
100%
yeah,
correct.
it's terrible, but that's how it is in the hockey world, and I think sports world in general. Money talks, and that's it. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I think there are programs that are out there like the U.S. national program and stuff like that they're in it to develop kids and get the most out of them. And there are programs that look after that. And I think this is just going to throw a pretty good wrench into our development. I know we're seeing it already in the 06, 07, 08 age group through COVID in Canada, where we got shut down and there was no hockey. and we're starting to see that skill gap and development gap right now coming through. And I think that with this rule change in the CHL, you're going to see again another 2-3 year window where there's going to be a gap in talent, and that's going to open the door more or less for the Europeans, which continue to play, continue to develop, and not change the rules and not change the game, and just keep doing the right way.
Yeah. Well, you never know. They can always change back, but one thing that I noticed is sometimes they get a European player in college back in the day, and he played pro hockey, and they still give him a scholarship, and that should have never been allowed, because those guys are getting paid.
Yeah, and I haven't really looked into that rule, but I was told there's ways around what they classify as a pro in Europe versus a pro in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I think it should be a clear-cut rule across the board to even the playing field for all countries for that matter.
Yeah. A lot of people, like, depending what part of the country you're talking about, some, like in the West Coast, this is not a big issue. California, this area, this issue, people don't know, they wouldn't care. But I think it's a bigger issue, like, because you guys have major junior in Canada, so that's a bigger issue up there. And maybe like Minnesota area, that could be a big issue, those areas. But the rest of the country, for like just regular hockey people, I don't think they care.
Well, I don't know. I think they would care if they understood, Jacko.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm hearing rumblings of the USA Hockey charging upwards of $100,000 to release an American player who will play in the ECHL.
That's ridiculous. So who gets the money?
It is.
Who gets the money?
Well, it would go back to Hockey USA.
So someone's profiting.
Well, I mean, they're just trying to protect. All they're doing is trying to protect the sport in the U.S. and the NCAA, from my understanding, is not tied to Hockey USA. They're independent.
No, that's independent. Yeah, the USA Hockey goes up to just junior hockey, and that's it. After that, you're not carded anymore. When you play college hockey in the U.S., you're not carded by USA Hockey, but you're only carded until like USHL. I remember signing a card. That was it. After that, we didn't. I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, and that's where I'm thinking. They're looking at it saying, well, why would we want our top end talent to go play in Canada?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we want to keep developing here like we've always been doing? I think there's more to come in this situation. Obviously the NCAA looks out for what's best for them, and rightfully so. They're a business, and they should be looking out for themselves. But with sometimes looking out for yourself ends up being detrimental to the entire game going forward.
Do you think the reason they're doing this is because they want the college players to get paid something like the football players are? Because, they're playing I think that's what maybe could be. That, they're making money on the ticket sales and everything, and then players don't get anything, but they're getting a free education, but still.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the flip side of it is saying, well, why should these schools be making millions of dollars off these athletes, and these athletes are starving students until they try to get to pro?
And they get risk injury too.
Well, yes, and they're getting nothing out of it. So now, I've heard of kids. I know actually one kid. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's been offered $100,000 plus a full ride scholarship to sign in some of these schools.
Wow. But if the coaches are getting paid, I mean, the players should get something.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's a game, it's a business, and you're getting a free education, which is awesome, and I think you should be appreciative of that. But looking at it on the flip side, and saying, hey, well, this school is making millions and millions of dollars off of me, and I'm getting nothing out of it. Where's the breadcrumbs for me, so to speak, right?
Yeah. So that's what I think's happening. Things might get adjusted, I think. I don't think it stay like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be this year. There might be a little bit of a free for all for who they can take, but I think they're going to kind of fine tune those rules, and they're going to look at it a little bit more. I think this was more of a knee-jerk reaction, saying, "Yeah, we're willing to do this," but without actually thinking about the consequences and what this is going to do to the game, actually, and further development of players, that kind of stuff. I'm also hearing now that Division III, which has never been able to give a scholarship, they might be now eligible to give full ride scholarships.
That's nice. That's nice. I got to ask you this question. It's still till 25 years old that you could play college hockey, correct?
You know what? I don't think that there is an age limit on when you can play. I think it's just a matter of meeting eligibility, meaning, you know, you have to have been taking college courses. There's stuff around it where, you know, you can't, you know, they limit what you can do, but realistically it's kind of open. And this just kind of blows my mind, because if they're allowing this, then what's stopping a 28-year-old guy playing in the American League from just jumping into the NCAA?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If it, you know, like the East Coast League doesn't pay as much, and you got a college kid that's maybe making more money, then you got a bunch of pros coming in to get a sort of an education, right? Not really, but and playing hockey, you know, and messing in school, but getting a free, you know, free hockey, and
yeah, it doesn't. And that's the thing, is it's not really overly clear. Like I've looked it up. I've tried Googling it, what the actual ruling is that they're going down right now for what is eligible, what's not eligible, all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't, I can't find really anything on it. So it's kind of it's up in the air on the subject matter, because they really haven't came out and said, hey, this is the concrete ruling on what can and can't play. So it's up in the air. It's disappointing, and it's not for the kid that signed a scholarship, and now this ruling came out. Well, and if he loses that scholarship because now they're open in the Western League, you know, are you going to see lawsuits on the other side saying, "Hey, you cost me my career"?
Yeah, it could happen. Who knows? And they might get guys from Russia coming in, Czech Republic, Sweden, that are pro players that are, you know, that are in their early 20s, and they're going to take those spots. It's so college hockey will be competitive, but it's going to leave out all the younger kids that are coming out of, say, midget AAA, or, you know, they're not going to get a chance.
Well, coming out of Tier 2 junior, or even what's the impact on the USHL?
Yeah.
Like I know in BC, there's been tons of kids getting announced that they jumped out of BC and are now signing in the Western League.
Yeah.
So that's hurting another league. And I know, well, like I said, USA Hockey is charging anywhere upward. I mean, there's one kid signed in Kitchener, Ontario, and I think they released it was like 25 or 35 grand to get his rights out of the U.S.
Wow.
So I mean, it's impacting a lot of other leagues that shouldn't be impacted, because we were perfectly fine, and it's not like the kids that played in the Western Hockey League didn't have a home. We had U Sport in Canada, which is like U of A, UFC, Waterloo, those kind of things, which is amazing hockey, and you know, they got a scholarship out of there and had free education paid for. So, you know, they had an avenue for schooling as well. So really, this kind of I don't know. I think that the detrimental impact we won't really see for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and the other one is just like back in the day, the Olympics were for amateurs only, and then they turn into a pro league, and it's just changed everything in the Olympics. You know, same thing back. You know, so, and that's why the Russians used to win all the time.
It was amateur.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was amateur, but the ones that kind of fell into that category were the Canadians and Americans.
Yeah.
So we were getting beat up in hockey, so to speak, and you know, these other countries were using their pro players from the KHL and all that kind of stuff, and they were allowed. So that's where it all kind of came down to. Well, how is this? So they leveled the playing field, so to speak, and said, no, we're gonna make it. You can be a pro, you can be a whatever, and join the Olympics. It's no longer an amateur event. So
yeah, a lot's changed. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. Yeah, thank you for bringing it up, because I did hear about it, but you wanted to talk to me. I said, you know what, let's do a segment and talk about it, because you had something to say, and you said it was important. And I said, well, if it's important,
Yeah.
then we got to do a segment. So I got to hear what you had to say, and makes
Well, it is important. It is
yeah,
important now because it changes kids' paths, right?
Yeah.
Even kids in California now, they were happy saying, "Hey, we're going to go to the NOL or the USHL or the NCDC even," and because there was a future going forward. Where now, does that impact? How much does that impact those leagues and their ability to produce hockey players to the next level
yeah,
without losing them?
yeah. It's true. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they can adjust it and fix the problem. But it doesn't look like it's hockey knowledge people that are running it. Maybe just it's all about money.
No, likely it's lawyers, and this comes down to a paycheck and what's going to make the NCAA the most money. And maybe they feel as though these guys that are playing semi-pro hockey in the CHL are going to make them more money in the long run. I don't know how or what, because college hockey has always been one of the greatest producers. So what they were doing in the past was working. So I really didn't see the need for change in that. But again, I don't know the ins and outs of
Yeah.
really what happened and all of that kind of fun stuff, I guess.
The other thing I heard, they might go to visors in the college hockey. I heard that a couple of years ago, but I don't know how accurate that rumor is.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard that for a lot of years, and it comes down to insurances,
Yeah.
and that's why they haven't went down that road. Obviously, I would love to see it, but just because, I mean, you're playing junior hockey with a half visor, and then all of a sudden now you're playing college and you got to wear a full visor. It just it's different, right?
Yeah. 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 Jason.
I prefer the game with a half visor on.
Yeah, me too. I remember you told me that you played college hockey and they weren't even allowed to have it in practice, right? No visors in practice either, right? Full cage.
No, that wasn't. We always had to have full cage practices or anything. And then the only time it was in the summertime when we were essentially not skating with the college.
Yeah.
It was our own independent ice, so to speak. But they encouraged us to remove our bubbles just to get used to playing with a half visor on.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking to me about the subject, because it does make sense what you're saying, and hopefully they can get it resolved.
Well, I hope so, and I hope that the kids and parents are getting more and more aware of what's going on, and so that they can make the most educated decision that they can for the direction of their hockey player.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, thank you so much, and all the best in the tournament.
Thanks, buddy. You take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. See you.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.